Hey, Facebook, welcome to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show. If for some reason you don't hear audio coming through, kind of like we had last week, please let us know with a comment. All right, today we are going to be talking about home buying in a seller's market. Make sure you stick around for the after show. You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's do
Here
it.
we go. Are you thinking about buying or selling a house or just want to know what might be going on with one of your biggest investments? Then come hang out with us for a little while. Hi, I'm Kirk Duckwall, and welcome to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show, sponsored by Bricks Real Estate, Network Title, Eric Bloomstrand and Chad Prevey with Bell Bank Mortgage, and James Tolson with Country Financial. If you have any questions for us, thinking about buying or selling a home, or just want to know what's going on in your area, feel free. You can always reach out to us during or after the show. 651-303-0019. Again, 651-303-0019. And you can always check us out online anytime at brickstwincities.com for the latest and greatest searching and researching tools, along with our publications. We have the Bricks Report, where you can find out all the market stats for many of the different suburbs and neighborhoods in the Twin Cities. And then also the Smart Home Buyer and Smart Seller books. Just some really good information if you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're thinking about making a move. This is a great first step when figuring out how to prepare your home for sale, timing out the market correctly, or if you're in the buying side of things, where to find some of the best deals out there, how to deal with those multiple offer situations. We're going to talk about some of that today. Today's topic, home buying in a seller's market. Obviously, last week we discussed how it is a seller's market out there right now. And I know it seems strange in these times, but yeah, it's because of that really, really low inventory and high demand. So I would like to welcome in studio with us Libby Hollenkamp. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Kirk?
Doing good. And then Chad Prevey joining us again.
Hey, thank you. Good to be back.
All right. So Libby, your Grey Duck team with Bricks Real Estate.
Yep.
And Chad, Bell Bank Mortgage, as
Yes,
said in the intro. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about home buying in that seller's market. There's so many pieces of this pie from the pre-approval. Let's start with that. I mean, one of those things that we discuss in the classes we do and in the book is you're not ready until you're pre-approved. We hear this all the time. Well, I'm not ready to get pre-approved. Well, then you're not ready to be out there looking at homes thinking that you're going to buy, because what's going to happen is you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, because you're going to find a home that you want, and then you're going to be forced to use a click lender, right? Who's then going to set improper expectations because they're not issuing you that pre-approval.
Pre-approval, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the one thing I really like to key on in the home buying seminar, obviously there's many of them, but the one is knowing your loan, because everybody has a different scenario. And it's kind of funny, I was with some family this weekend for the holiday weekend, and we were talking about some loans, right? Different types of loans. And we're talking about, well, my neighbor got this, or my friend at work got that. Well, that's great. What you get is what you get, because everybody's scenario is different. So I guess your point is, don't hesitate to get pre-approved, because you can't buy a house without being pre-approved.
Right, and there's so many misconceptions. Like we were discussing the rate shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Rate shopping is the complete backwards way you should shop for a mortgage. I mean, on any given day, what would you say the spread in rates somebody could get is, depending on what they want to do?
Oh, it can be 1%.
Yeah. A whole percentage point. So you're out there rate shopping by an eighth or a quarter when that's not it. There's so many pieces of the pie that need to fall into place. What's your down payment? What loan product are you going with? How are you dealing with closing costs? What term loan are you looking for? What are your goals? All of that will determine what your rate is. So if you're going to rate first, you haven't even picked the flavor of ice cream yet,
Right.
Well, and the other piece that we are dealing with the COVID-19 is that there are a number of sellers who don't even want somebody to come into their home without that pre-approval letter. If they're still living there, they have legitimate safety concerns that they want only pre-approved buyers. And so I'm having that conversation with buyers that, starting with the lender, is even more critical in this situation.
Yeah, and then this whole idea, oh, I'm going to wreck my credit, so I got to wait until the last second. You are setting yourself up for complete failure by going that way, because you can actually improve your credit given enough time applying ahead of time,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
and so these myths of wrecking your credit, how this happens is some moron went out and applied for, 15 mortgages, 10 credit cards, 3 car loans, and then started racking up different purchases on, the Sears card back in the day or whatever, right? And that's how their credit got wrecked, not by applying with a couple reputable lenders,
Right.
right?
I
Absolutely.
encourage you to do that.
So,
Yeah.
okay, one of the big keys in home shopping in a seller's market is to know what you're looking for, okay? So if you're out there saying, I'm open, I'm not picky, you're lying to yourself. That's like walking onto a car lot blindfolded and saying, I'm just going to try anything. That you're lying to yourself.
Right.
You have things that you want. Think about that. Test drive some homes. Go out and do an exploratory set with your agent without the expectation of finding something. If your agent is being pushy and salesy on an exploratory set, maybe it's time for a new agent, right? But go out, test drive some cars, learn about what that is that you want, do that priority checklist. This is a huge time saver and a huge, you are not going to have to go through the agony of going out and looking at 50 homes when you don't have the time to do that and getting in 25 arguments with your significant other if you do this up front and in an exploratory set of showings. And you have to be on the same page with each other. This will set you up for success. This will make your home shopping experience fun and enjoyable and less stressful. If you're stressed about actually talking to your significant other because you're being so selfish on your needs that you think you're going to get that, that's going to be way more stressful when it's a month past when you should have found a home and you're still fighting. I've actually seen this lead to divorce.
Oh, wow.
Right? Not a client of mine, luckily, but I have seen that people will
Kirk, did you call us?
they will not have a conversation and be honest with each other.
Well, and getting real about making that list, the needs and the wants, and knowing, setting the expectation for as agents. It's important that we set the expectation that it's not necessarily likely that we're going to be able to check all of these boxes. And if that unicorn exists, what are the other pieces of the puzzle? But just getting real about the things that you can overcome and the things that you can't and you aren't willing to.
Yeah, I mean,
using tools like internet, like bird's eye view, Google search, typing in the address, and
well, yeah,
the
let's
things that are
well,
objections.
let's
Am I
dive
doing-
into that a little bit, because I mean that's once you do your priority checklist, and it's simple. Yes, there's the tons of wants and needs, but all of them fall typically into 5 categories: price, size, condition, location, neighborhood. Okay, size could be you want 3-car garage. It could be you want a big lot. Well, that would fall under neighborhood, right? That I want a house that has a big kitchen or an updated kitchen. Well, that would be condition, right? That you need to rank these things 1 through 5. What's most important, least important, and you can only use one number each time, okay? And then you have to be on the same page, number for number, with your significant other after you talk this through. We call it the fight starter. I mean it jokingly, but it's saying you have to have this conversation, but once you do it, it's going to make your life easy. Then you take that, and we don't expect people to know this stuff up front. That's why the exploratory set of showings comes into play. But you take that information, and this will help you when you start the online searching, because that's the way we look at homes now for showing number 1, 2, and 3 typically is online. It's not about looking at the most homes. It's about looking at the right homes. You're going to be eliminating more homes than you're looking at, and that's a good thing,
Should be.
right? You're not test driving every car on the car lot. You'd be a crazy person to do
exhausting.
that, right?
It's exhausting driving a car, and it's exhausting going out and looking at the houses, and looking at the wrong ones, wasting the time looking at the wrong ones when you're missing out on.
And there's
the
a real thing called buyer fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
right? That you look at so much and you get so stressed out and you give up.
Mhm.
You give up because you went in on the shotgun approach.
Right.
It's discouraging.
It is. And so doing a buyer priority checklist, doing an exploratory set of showings is no different than saying, hey, you know what? We need a vehicle that can hold the four of us and maybe our dog, and it's easy to put groceries in and out of, and easy for the kids to get out in and out of. Hey, we need a minivan. Okay, so you're not going to go out test driving pickup trucks, right? So when you look at the kind of house that you want, hey, we want 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms on one level. Great. There's certain types of homes that's not going to work, right? That not all of them, but most 2-level splits, it's usually 2 bedrooms on each level. Okay, so figuring out those needs, what you're looking for, and honing in on that, setting that specific criteria. We're going to, when we come back from the commercial break, get into how to identify some kind of red flags online that can just check those properties right off. Again, if you have questions for us, you can give us a call, 651-303-0019. Again, 651-303-0019. And you're again listening to Twin Cities Real Estate Show on AM 950. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, let's see here. Okay, what do we got? Looking past. Oh yeah, looking back. We definitely want to make sure we talk about that, and we're on that. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Ready.
Welcome back to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show on AM 950. Have any questions for us? Give us a call, 651-303-0019. If you're thinking about making a move, we'd be happy to help answer any questions that you have. 651-303-0019 is the number to reach us at as well after the show. Today, we are talking about home buying in a seller's market and some things that you really need to be doing. We covered, one, getting pre-approved right away and the falsehoods behind that wrecking your credit. Talking about narrowing your search using that home buyer priority checklist. And now we're talking about how to filter homes online. This is hugely important. I actually just did this yesterday with a house. I have one buyer that's very tall, and story and a half homes just aren't really our friend. And so he sent one through, and it was a little deceiving because it kind of looked like a 2-story, but when you saw the distance between the top of the window and the ceiling, it wasn't much. And especially from the outside, it looked like somebody smushed the house into the ground a little bit. And so I was able to say, hey, I noticed this on the listing, that you want to be as observant as possible. So, for somebody who is taller, looking at that distance between the top of the windows and the top of the doors and the ceiling can give you an idea how tall those rooms are. Mm-hmm. Looking at the outside at are you stepping up into the home? Is it at ground level? Just these little things that come up. That house that seems super well priced on the east side of Bloomington, and you notice that the door is right at ground level. Well, it's slab on grade and it doesn't have a basement, right? That you want to make sure you're really looking at the homes closely, looking at where do the doorways lead to, where do the windows look out to when you're looking at the listing photos. But one of the tricks that I see is, if it specs out, you should be checking it out. And so what do I mean by speccing out? Well, the very first thing, satellite view, right? That is the number one way to eliminate probably 50+% of homes.
For sure.
Right? Because we are attracted to the homes that have the best sale prices, but quite often you pull the satellite view and, it's the postage stamp lot. You notice there's no garage. You notice that it's on a busy corner. You were saying, what are some of the key features on the roads you can look for,
For sure, yeah, that double line yellow right in the middle, that's going to be a busy street. If you've got a gas station or something, commercial right nearby, that's going to be probably a deal breaker. I always tell my buyers, it seems strange to be thinking this way, but as a buyer, someday you will sell. And so positioning yourself in the mindset of, we don't know what the market will be at that point in time. So buying something now that will be the bright, shiny object on the market someday, whether we're in a buyer's market or seller's market or what have you. So avoiding some of those pitfalls of things that could be
Yeah, the
incurable
I don't care about a
objections.
busy road can turn
Mm.
into, well, somebody might, and it's going to
Somebody,
affect you
yeah.
later. And it's not that you don't buy a house on a busy street, right? That doesn't mean, but how does that line up with your neighborhood expectations, with
For
your
sure.
goals? And you sure better be getting that appropriate price reduction
Mhm.
for that.
Right.
You know,
Because someday you might be taking
right.
that
You should not be
reduction
paying. I mean,
when you sell.
almost always 15 to 20K slash for a busy road. If that's not there in comparison to the other properties, it's too much. And if somebody's willing to pay that, let them. You know,
Yep.
Right.
don't pay for somebody else's overpricing.
Yep.
Yeah, you brought
Um,
up a good point though, and you're looking out for people down the road, especially first-time home buyers. You know, where you want to buy up, you want to have equity to have that down payment for the next purchase. But one thing I want to note, you guys, on the online tools, I know we all do it. I call it window shopping. I invite you to do it, but there's mortgage calculators on certain websites that you just don't want to use. So reach out to your real estate agent. They're going to have a calculator for you, or obviously reach out to your loan officer. Let them run the payments for you, or teach you how to run the payments.
Yeah, because you
with
want to
these
make sure
calculators.
mortgage insurance, if it's there, that it's being calculated correctly. You want to make sure that the taxes are being calculated correctly.
Correct.
The homeowner's insurance is being calculated correctly. The HOA dues are being calculated correctly. So
Right.
you have to have those expectations be correct as you are shopping out there. Or again, you may be looking at the wrong homes while the right ones are selling.
Exactly.
So, you know, doing the street view or doing the satellite view is a must. And then why not jump to the Google Street View, right? And then see, look at the home. There's no need to go drive out there and then just be like, oh, this isn't going to work, right? You know,
Totally
make
not.
sure it has the curb appeal, the kind of distance from neighbors that you're looking for. So do that piece. Look at the bedroom sizes and locations and other room sizes and locations. I mean, if one of the bedrooms, you're looking for a 3-bedroom home because you have to have a 3-bedroom home, and one of the bedrooms is 8 by 7, is that to your expectations and needs?
Well, and Kirk, going back to the exploratory tour
Right.
with your agent, I try to make sure if we're the first time out with buyers that we're looking at the room sizes, and if they're saying this feels like a good size,
Circle
I make
it.
a point of saying,
Mhm.
okay, the dimensions here are 10 by 12. This
Yeah.
feels right. This feels good. If it feels too small, I try to point out that too, and so the buyer can make that note in their head. Next time they find one online, they're looking at those dimensions, and that
Right.
can help weed out, again, avoiding looking at the wrong house.
Yeah, 100%. I say that one of the new things that I'm doing now when I do the exploratory set is I start out by saying, we are going to go out and talk about why you're not going to buy any of these houses,
Mhm.
right?
That's
Tell me
perfect.
why you don't like this house. That's what I want to hear, because that's going to you don't tell me, oh, we can put this on our list. No, it's like this is like Talladega Nights. If you're not first, you're last, right? You need to know. You need to be honest with yourself, and that's okay,
Mhm.
right? You
It's
don't.
critical.
I'm not going to go out looking for a TV. I don't even know if they make black and white. Does anybody? I know as of a few years ago, you could find a black and white still occasionally, but
No idea.
I would have to go hunting, right? But that'd be like sitting there. Well, I might want to buy a black and white TV. Maybe I'm dating myself way too much.
What's a
Just
black
a
and white
little
TV?
bit.
Yeah, maybe. I saw one and I'm like, really? That's black and white? Okay. All right. Somebody please chime in and tell me the last year they made one of those and make me feel old.
Those exploratory runs too work well with people familiarizing themselves with their mortgage and the different payments, because obviously each neighborhood, each county has a different tax bracket. Property taxes play a big role on your monthly payment. So when you do that, Kirk, and I'm talking to the clients, we're looking at different price points, different payment options, and it's amazing how much people learn just by looking at different properties.
I think I just realized it. It would have been whenever tube TVs were completely eliminated. So what would that, about 15 years
Anyway,
ago?
We're going to
His
get back
brain's
to
just-
real estate here.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, so you're looking at the how that home is going to feel to you. Where is it going to meet your basic needs that you want? And that's where that priority checklist really comes in. Okay, so there's some other easy ways to open doors out there. Okay, and that's looking past things like list price. List price is not an accurate reflection of value. If it was, every house would sell for list price. That is not what happens. I would say maybe 10% do.
Well, and it's critical for a buyer to understand that the seller sets the price.
Right.
Their agent is there to advise and guide them, but it is 100% the seller's decision what to price the house. So our first step is to evaluate the property and the condition when we've checked off all the things that lead us to go see it in person. And then from there, I do my market analysis and determine what the real value is. So price versus value is really the conversation.
Exactly. And that's it. You can't, like, this question I get from my buyers all the time is, well, what do you think this home is worth? Let's go look at it, right? That's my answer. You have to go
start
look
by
at
looking
it,
at it.
right?
That's
Because
always step one.
you're not going to be able to know condition
Nope.
ever
Those
ever
pictures
from
look so great online.
or terrible, and it's
Or
fine,
terrible, yes.
right? And it's
I
fine.
love that one. When
Right?
they look terrible and it's great.
Right, exactly. If you do not judge
deal.
the book by its cover, do not. You have to, if it meets your specs, unless you're seeing something that's a fundamental flaw, don't be like, oh, it's dark and blurry, and so this house is nasty, or it's crowded and the rooms are teeny. No, it's not. You have to go see it. You know, unless you're seeing the mold growing up the walls and you actually know it's mold, not a shadow. You know yeah, go check it
Yeah,
out. You
yeah.
can't tell condition. With just a minute to go here, but look, when you're at the house, you gotta let the light cosmetics go.
Yep.
If it's carpet and paint, just go get the Home Depot card or Menards card or whatever and get new carpet and paint. And because you want to save $25,000 to $40,000, look for the homes that have the carpet that needs to be replaced and the paint that, what was it, like Chad used to say, the Easter Bunny exploded in the house or something, right?
Right.
That
Those are great homes. to
Right,
buy.
right.
Paint
Yeah.
is cheap.
paint
Flooring
is
is
cheap.
cheap.
Oh my God, and you can get such great deals.
Yes.
Right? And fresh
absolutely.
carpet and fresh paint eliminate smells and odors, pet odors, things like that. You can get rid of that. If you can look past those light cosmetics, you can save tens of thousands of dollars. This is no joke,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, a few more things I'd love to hit on, but we just don't have time. Here's some, so look at the estate sales, look at the relocations. If you want more information about this, Bricks Twin Cities under publications, Smart Home Buyer, it's got the info there, or you can give us a call. We'll be back next week. After show.
I love the after show.
Okay.
After show's the best.
So yeah, I hit on there the light cosmetics. Yeah, carpet.
Curable and incurable objections. To what degree are you wanting to do something? Some people have that dream kitchen, that vision of a dream kitchen or fantastic bathroom that, those things do cost more. But they're going to be living there for the next 8, 10, 12 years. Then why not make the investment to make it exactly what you want it instead of someone else's vision and preferences? So you can save money by purchasing something that's super outdated. That's a great opportunity for somebody who's looking for.
Yeah, a dated house. And it tends to be the dated houses are those estate sales. It tends to be those estate sales are the ones that tend to sit on the market for a while.
And they tend to be the ones that have been very well maintained.
Right.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
furnace
those
is
are
great, the
the-
roof is great, the windows are great.
Windows, yeah.
Yeah.
All the boring stuff, as I like to say. I had one recently that my buyers purchased, and the inspector called it a unicorn. And I've never heard him use the term unicorn
yeah.
before.
Who was the
And,
inspector?
Andrew Morse.
Okay.
Yep, he's phenomenal. I love working with him. But he called it a unicorn, and I was like giddy by the time the buyers were
What?
like, and they were first time buyers. They were amazing to work with. But I'm like, do you guys understand? It's yeah, it was great. So all the boring stuff was done, and
Yeah.
so they got to make the kitchen really beautiful, and
Cool.
it was just like it was fantastic.
I got one. It might have been last spring. It might have been the spring before. I can't remember, but I do remember the house. And it was Edina Schools, backed up to a park, 225. Estate sale.
Shag carpet.
Well, it was one of those. It was one of those ones. And I've started saying this to buyers, and it's not to be salesy. It's the truth. You don't buy it, I will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hands down, if you're not going for it, I'm making an offer on it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not to sound salesy. It's like sometimes you run across these estate sales that it's
Too
just
good to
like,
be true. Yeah.
yeah.
The bones are good. All the boring stuff is, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a winner.
Yeah, it's because I mean, for an investment property, I could rent that thing all day long.
Seriously.
Right.
Very cool.
So,
Probably worth double that now.
Well, and that actually brings up a great point, because there's a lot of search tools out there that will lead you down paths that seem too good to be true, or like you look at these foreclosures and it's like, and I honestly one day I replied to the guy because I got a message and it said it was like a $240,000 home, and he's like, I'll make a cash offer for $100K less, and I just replied with, if I could get it for $100K less, I would be buying this house right now. Right? I'm not
Yeah.
letting it go to market.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is, you need to make sure that you're using the tools that will really give you the real what's really out there, and you got to be careful too from these automated valuations. I mean, you can even look up the accuracy of these evaluation tools from the companies that put them out there, and it'll tell you. I was looking at one like where it was within 5% was only 40% of the time that they would be within 5%. Within 10%, it was only 60% of the time. Well, 10%, those are big dollar amounts to be off by.
Yeah.
So.
Well, on the flip side of this stuff too, if you are a seller out there and you need to do some painting or just a little cleanup in the yard, there's companies out there that will buy your home for pennies on the dollar that you don't need to go that route if you have some just minor maintenance stuff, and save yourself tens of thousands of dollars by picking up a paintbrush or mowing the grass.
Yeah,
or just
exactly.
doing some nice work, in the rocks around the house or landscape, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, it's there are these. You want to look for those homes that it's the easy work, it's the simple stuff. You can get the best price, and be willing to take on that light work. Okay, so we were discussing.
Can I interject really quick? Be willing to take on the light work, or at least be willing to hire it.
Yeah.
I had sellers recently right over in West St. Paul who, they could have gone and chased the bouncing ball and done all kinds of projects, but I just said, paint it all popular gray, clear out, a fair amount of the furniture. And so they had a mover come and they had a painter come, and it was like, it made a huge impact on, and they had a carpet cleaner come.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Oh, I was talking more on the buyer side of things. That if you can
sorry.
find the ones that need the light. Well, yeah. Well, and we talked about.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We talked about in last week's show. We discussed that I have a contractor that will get paid at closing to come out and do these small projects.
Nice.
Right.
So why sell your home for 15 to 20, like you say, pennies on the dollars, 15 to 20% less, when you could maybe pay a few grand to have somebody come in and just get it done?
Right.
Electricians and plumbers sometimes will do that too.
A good agent's going to be taking that stress off by providing those services, those
Absolutely.
connections,
with
and
those suggestions
and getting it set up.
Right.
That said, the flip side is true for buyers. Why pay $40,000-$50,000 more for somebody's flip that probably just didn't do it right anyway? I mean, I'd be curious. What's buy up? I mean, have you seen a good one yet that's come back around?
No, I can't. Yeah.
I had one that was like, this isn't. It was a townhouse, so it was a little, association. But man, I haven't seen the super high quality, opposite side of the sale.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
looking
show.
past the looking past the cosmetics, looking past the list price. Another one. We see these cheesy letters that go out. I have buyers looking in your neighborhood, and it's like agents hunting for listings, right?
We all have buyers looking in your neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, what's
That's a given.
Yeah, exactly. But realistically, if you're a buyer out there, you could use a tactic of approaching, and your real estate agent should be able to do this, which is to specifically narrow down to the type of home you're looking for. So a must with this is that you have to know what styles you're okay with, your sizes that you have to have. the locations that you're looking. You want to be narrowing this to maybe 200 potential houses. And if you're being realistic, that should be about what it is, maybe, depending on, again, you don't want to say I'm really open, because then you're just lying to yourself.
I was gonna say, if you've gotten specific about your location, I would say it would be even fewer than 200.
Yeah, it might be 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
I love this idea though. What you're
Yeah, so what you do is your agent can get this information input into the MLS system, and what you're doing is you're hunting off-market properties that fit this criteria, and you could even target it to people most likely to move using Remine or something like that, and you write it from the buyer's perspective of, hey, I'm looking for a home in this neighborhood of this style, of this size. There isn't much that's been out there. If you're at all considering making a move, please contact my agent. Now, a lot of people go, well, why wouldn't I just say contact me and I can make some great deal? Well, okay, more than likely these sellers are going to have, yeah, exactly. More than likely these sellers are going to have their representatives, and those representatives are going to know what that home's might go for on the open market, and you need to have somebody representing you. And a representative isn't somebody who has bought or sold 2 or 3 homes in their lifetime, your dad or mom who's going to help you out with this deal, you want somebody who's doing 2 or 3 homes every month, kind of thing, that they really understand things like appraisal guarantees, inspection guarantees, stuff like that. And these are clauses you can use out on the open market too. But
essential in the
right.
current market.
But a lot of sellers, especially on an off-market property, they're probably going to want to sell it as is or close to if you're approaching them.
Well, and what I like, Kirk, about your suggestion of the letter coming from the buyer, essentially, the agent would be the one scouting the properties,
right?
And getting that produced and sent out, doing the work on it. But the buyer letter. It's kind of like when you write an offer and send a buyer letter with it. There is so much psychology in real estate, so much. It's so personal, and it's
absolutely.
Somebody brought their baby home from the hospital here. They taught them how to ride their bike here. This
well,
is
now
a
you're
very
making me
personal
emotional about maybe selling
transaction.
my place.
Oh, well, if you hire me, I can make it. Well, yeah, we'll talk later. But having that emotional tie can suddenly give you that advantage.
I actually had my brother. Don't mind that. I actually had my brother rep me, at least as
an
initial.
Hire Adam
well, I had him be the initial point of contact on when I sold my South St. Paul house, just to create a little separation.
I'd pick Adam over you.
I mean, I wouldn't
No,
again.
Just
No, just kidding.
No, I'm teasing. I'd work with Adam.
I'm going with Johnny now.
What's that?
I'm going with Johnny now.
You're going with Johnny now. Yeah, he's solid. I'd hire you, Kirk.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's a really good way, because I mean the odds are, what do they say? It's 1 in 10 homeowners are thinking about moving. 1 in 100 are.
Wow.
Right? So you get 100 letters out there, you're gonna be hitting somebody.
And when you're already,
you're gonna be hitting somebody, right?
I like that approach.
So it's a way, if you really know, really locked in, that you can produce some potential.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Good information.
Good stuff.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye, Facebook. See you
Have
next
a good
week.
week. Short week.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, I don't even know.
I don't know what day it is.
What